You can start.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second session of nutrition. And this is from Oasis BSK Bangalore. Today, I'm going to cover top three nutrients that you have to eat, which when you are trying to conceive is very important. So let us see what these three nutrients are. And the first nutrient that I'm going to talk about is folic acid. The second nutrient is iron, and the third one is going to be zinc. So, let us learn what are the functions of these nutrients and how much in a day you should be eating all these. And I'm also going to give you interesting recipes. So, let's quickly move on to our first superfood or first nutrient that you should be considering. Now, the moment you're planning a pregnancy and go to a gynec or an obstetrician or a family physician, he or she is going to put you on something called a folic acid. It is also called as folate. And when we classify folic acid in vitamins, it is called vitamin B9. Okay, and what are the functions and why should you be taking folic acid even before you have conceived or trying for a pregnancy? So let's see what are the functions of folic acid. Number one, it helps form red blood cells. As you know, when there is a fetal growth, we need so much of RBCs. So there is a multiplication of red blood cells, which happens very rapidly during this phase. And the second important function is helps produce DNA. DNA is like it's present in every cell of your body. So these are called building blocks of life. And the third function of folic acid is helps develop your unborn babies or the fetal brain, skull, and spinal cord. These three things should periodically develop in fetus so that it prevents the birth defects. It's also called neural tube defects. This is why folic acid is very important even before you start your try becoming pregnant. The doctors will put you on folic acid. So let's see how much of folic acid you need in a day. The usual dose for most women who are trying to get pregnant are, or they can continue to take this folic acid till 12th week of pregnancy is 400 mcgs or 400 micrograms. Most of the prescription medications will come in 400 micrograms, and it is taken once in a day. It's going to be one tablet that you will take. And even before you start your pregnancy, the gynacs are going to put you on this particular tablet, and it's extremely important that you take it. If at all you miss one or two doses here, it really doesn't matter, but definitely it will affect on a longer run if you are not equipped with a good folic acid or a folate storage in your body. It is going to affect the weight of the baby or the pregnancy outcome. So that's why we say please try and take folic acid supplements. So let's see what are the folic acid rich foods that are present in our own kitchens. Again, here, like I always emphasize, you don't have to go out of your way. Just look at the list of the folic acid rich foods. It is cooked legumes like Kabuli chana. We all use it, on daily basis. Moong dals, the whole moongs and the split moong dals, the chana dal, the chauli beans, all these can be very high or very rich in folic acid. So there are some recipe suggestions because chauli beans can always be made into sabjis, interesting gravies. You can always steam that with other vegetables. It can be either dry or it can be in the gravy form. Urad dal is also very rich in folic acid, and urad dals can be made into khichdis. It can be teamed with spinach and made very interesting recipes. And cluster beans, so these wawarfali is what we call. So even this is very rich in folic acid. So go ahead and eat all of this or try to include this at least twice or thrice in your weekly diets, and your folic acid eating or intake is taken care of. Garlic and spinach soup is also rich in folic acid, which you can try. So these are the recipe suggestions. So we covered the requirement, we also covered the recipes. Now I would like to move on to the second nutrient, which is iron. Now, everybody talks about iron deficiency anemia, why iron is so important, why you have to rule out anemia before you even get pregnant. Iron is important, as you all know, to make the red blood cells. And during pregnancy, because the blood volume goes up, it's even more important that you take iron in larger quantities. So you cannot say what is larger or what is small. So when we come to requirements, adult men require 17 milligrams per day, and adult women requires 21 milligrams per day. So if you see, there is a difference in an adult man's and a woman's requirement, and basically because when a woman is in her reproductive stage, or the childbearing age, the requirement goes up, and also she needs to cover her menstrual losses. That's why the requirement is placed higher than what she eats. So a woman who is on in the childbearing age and after puberty should be aiming at anything between 18 to 23 grams of milligrams of iron per day. So after we have covered, iron requirement, we will quickly go into what are the things that are rich in iron. Number one is garden crisp seeds. Now we call it as alvi seeds in local language. These are seeds, small little brown colored seeds, which can be soaked in water, and these seeds had in the morning along with the water increases your iron stores in your body. And most greens are specifically greens like drumsticks, the cauliflower greens, which we always throw saying that it's not smelling good, or it has wilted off. So these things are actually iron rich foods. And matki lentils, which can be used into our palyas, the gravies, etc., is also high in iron. Sesame seeds are also rich in iron. Now, in South India, when a girl of a pubertal age, or an young girl, when she reaches menarche, we usually give her a lot of sesame seeds in the form of laddus, chikkis. The idea is to give her iron, or feed her more iron, so that she can cope up with her menstrual losses. It is not a tradition per se, but the science or a nutrition science which is behind that tradition, to feed her sesame seeds, laddus, or chikkis, so that she gets her iron stores back, which she has lost in her menstrual cycle. The bajra flour, sometimes is also very rich in iron. Depends on how the bajra flour is processed, but as such, bajra is high compared to other cereal flours. Mint leaves is also one of the rich sources of iron. It's just that we don't pay attention to it. And pudina, that is mint leaves, which is added, if it is frequently added to your chutneys, your rotis, or if you're making it into parathas, making it into dips and chutneys, it is very good. In fact, I have myself seen in my practice that a lot of people have benefited from the usage of mint leaves regularly. Like, if I recommend somebody to eat lot of iron rich foods, and I include mint leaves every day, after she comes back to me after 3 months, I have definitely seen changes in her iron stores or HB levels. So mint leaves is one sure shot where you can depend on it when you're trying to increase your iron stores. Liver in non-vegetarian food is definitely high in iron. So those of you who are trying for a pregnancy, or trying to get pregnant, so please start eating liver in the form of soups, or whatever form you like. Please don't hesitate to eat a non-vegetarian food saying that it is heat, or causes you that. If you have such issues, you can always approach a nutritionist asking for solutions. What do you do when you have an acidity? But then do not refrain from eating non-vegetarian food. So I have covered what are the top iron rich foods. Now there are three things which I would like to say before I go into the third nutrient. Number one, when you are cooking greens, please always cover it, because there are water soluble vitamins which go along or evaporate along with water. So always cover and cook all your greens. That is number one. And when you're trying to eat iron, it is always important to look at vitamin C content. So whenever you have made an iron rich recipe, just go on and add a little dash of lemon juice or lime juice. Now, alternatively, the third tip would be to whatever iron-rich recipe you have made, try to put some sprouts into it. That also increases your vitamin C absorption. So, vitamin C intake, and eventually it will increase the absorption of iron in your body. So, iron intake and vitamin C intake, they both go hand to hand. So let's go to our third, superstar nutrient. The third one would be zinc. And why is zinc important? What are the functions? Let us understand. It supports fetal growth and development. So there itself you can understand it's very important. And immune function for both mother and the baby. DNA synthesis, of course, we mentioned this in our previous nutrients. Wound healing is also very important. And second to iron, this is the most abundant mineral in our body. So after iron, which is present in every cell, every red blood cell which carries oxygen, zinc is the next abundant mineral in our body. So you can imagine how critical it is for our nutrition. And it is also very important for the skin health. So, if somebody is complaining of a lot of acne or skin problems, the first thing the doctor would do is put her on a zinc supplement so that he or she benefits out of the zinc supplementation. Let us see how much an individual would require on a daily basis. The recommended daily intake is just 11 milligrams. It is actually lesser in women. Pregnant and breastfeeding women, of course, need a little more, and they should be consuming 12 milligrams per day. Now, this is also called supplementation because most of us cannot eat the quantity to get that 11 milligrams of zinc. So, what are the zinc rich recipes? Number one is pumpkin seeds. And you have to be careful when you are roasting or you're trying to eat a roasted pumpkin seed. Do not over roast it, and it is called dry roasting. Do not add any kind of fat into it. Just heat up a tawa or a pan, and on a medium or a low flame, you can just roast the pumpkin seed for 3 to 5 minutes only. After that, the pumpkin seeds are ready to be consumed. And nuts like almonds, cashews, I'm sure all of this will go into your favorite lists. So, walnuts, all these are high in zinc. I would also like to mention a little bit of dark chocolate. Also comes with some amount of zinc. And whole grains like ragi, bajra, jowar, etc. also have zinc in them. So, what are the things that you can try, creatively in your kitchen? Try mixing jowar roti with a lot of onion scraped, or onion cut, or even this one chopped. And ragi rotis can be actually made with beetroot scraping, or beetroot this one pieces. And rajma curries can be made, which is again very popular. Masoor dal rasams can be prepared because masoor is also rich in zinc. So these are the recipes that you can carry home today, and I will meet you next session where I'll be talking about three more superstar nutrients and some more recipes to try in your kitchen. Thank you so much. Please let me know if you have questions. One tablet in the morning, I'll take you 100 two times a day. I'm using folic acid, one tablet in the morning, and Ultra Q 100 two times a day, and Justinova one packet. Do I get all the required minerals? Yes, definitely. Um, yeah, it's a good supplementation to do. All I would like to suggest that depend more on food sources than popping a pill. But yeah, this combination works best. So you can continue doing this. Uh, our next viewer is asking, ma'am, I used Livogen for 4 months. Shall I continue uh, till I conceive? It would be more clear if you can tell me why you were using Livogen. And yeah, if a doctor has prescribed that, then yes, it can be continued. But after 4 to 4.5 months, I think you should get back to whoever has prescribed that for you, and check if you need to continue it, because long-term supplementation, long-term liver support, all this is not required in most times. Our next question is: can we mix all wheat, bajra, ragi powders together for making rotis? Yeah, it's a good suggestion. It's a good thing to do. Yes, you can always make a flour ready. You can actually use it as a go-to. Even these multigrain flours can be used in dosas. And it can be used for parathas. So it's one instant mix which goes into several items. So yes, it's a good idea. You can also add some soya flour to it, just to give you that protein kaposh. Is taking jaggery good for health? Will it contain iron? Good question. Many people have asked me this. Jaggery per se is not a rich source of iron. uh, and it is very very similar to sugar when it is consumed, and the body treats it as sugar or glucose or fructose. So jaggery, when is processed in a particular manner, the conventional jaggery making involved a lot of iron pans, in which the jaggery used to pick up some amount of iron and give it to you eventually when you consumed it. But all jaggeries are not made in the same way. These days, there are industries which make it, devoid of the stainless steel is used, the sterilized steel is used. So chances are, probabilities are, if you are eating jaggery from various sources, you don't know whether they are rich in jaggery, and jaggery cannot be classified as a iron rich food. Yeah. So, if the questions are done, I think we have come to the end of the session. Thanks for your patience hearing, and let us know if you would like to know more about pregnancy diets and things which you would like to know more when it comes to nutrition. Thank you. Which form of sweets we can use for PCOD patients? Um, The nutrition intervention when it comes to PCOD management is actually refraining from all kinds of refined sugars. So, if you want to eat a sweet, then I would recommend, this might sound very boring, but too much of highs and lows in your blood sugar is what we are trying to avoid in PCOD. So, when we suggest a diet for a PCOD patient, we generally give her a low glycemic index food, and sweets don't come under low glycemic index foods. So you might try something like roasted walnuts, probably a little bit of dried coconut and jaggery with that, or you could try the classic cashew and raisins, apple along with the peel. So these are the things which you need to use when you are trying to uh, tackle a craving for sweet. There is no need for you to consume, sucrose, glucose, or fructose. These things are present in your food. Now, the problem is when you get a craving for it, which usually tends to happen when you have a PCOD or a mood swing, or even when you are undergoing a PMS. So it's very common, and it is a common coping mechanism in our body. When you're stressed, when you're depressed, or when you don't have energy, you tend to crave for a piece of sweet, which is natural. But then there is no requirement, or no RDI, the required dietary intake, which is recommended for fructose, glucose, and sucrose, because they are all present in our naturally present in the foods which we eat daily. Foods to improve equality. Yeah, there are some of it. It need not give you. It may not give you instant results, but yeah. things with high lycopene content, for example, pomegranate seeds, the moong dals, and boiled eggs, and these things should be consumed. If you're looking at improving egg quality, now it doesn't mean it'll do magic and it'll improve your egg quality, but if you are somebody who is looking at switching over to a better diet, these are the things to include. Well, peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, good for PCOD patients. Yeah, and there are several videos for these, peanut butter, almond butter to make at home. So watch them and try them instead of buying it from a store. Because end of the day, peanut butter, almond butter, all these are called processed foods. Whenever you eat a processed food, you are definitely eating extra sugar, extra salt, and extra fat. So please understand, do I need this? Do I want, if you're a person with a PCOD who is sitting all day in front of computer and working, then there is no fun in adding peanut butter, almond butter, and cashew butter. These will only end up giving you more calories, nothing else. So you will have to be careful about your lifestyle. If you are a person who is always on the move, very active lifestyle, you may work out. Yes, I will allow you almond butter, peanut butter, and cashew butter. So make these at home rather than buying them from a store. Yeah. Some hormonal injections, I must say, and medication lead to severe hair fall. So, are there foods to overcome? Like I said, these three things like folate, iron, and zinc are the things which need to be included when we are talking about skin, hair fall, all these side effects of hormonal injections. So, from today's presentation, if you have seen, if you're trying to bring down the side effects of injections, these are the foods to eat, like the legumes, the cooked ones, more of greens, walnuts and almonds, and like the zinc rich foods which I mentioned in my PPT today. Those are the things to consume. How many calories per day required for a PCOD patient? There is not a blanket calorie recommendation. It depends on what is your BMI and what is your lifestyle. Is it active, sedentary, or it is moderate? So women need anywhere between 900 to 1200, depending on what age she is, what is she doing, and all that. We also take stress factor, we also take her a reproductive age. So only depending on these things a diet is planned. So I wouldn't give you a number, because it is PCOD women might require. There are people who sustain with a 900 calorie diet. There are people who are just not losing even if you put them on 800 to 850 calories. So depends on each body, and taking a number would not be right here. I think we covered this question. What kind of sugar needs to be consumed? So you don't need to consume. They're all naturally present in the food, and if you're eating many natural foods, then you're not naturally gaining all these sugars from your diet. I think with that, we have come to the end of this show. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank you.